Hey, it's Mike. I wanted to do some more getting real about Bigfoot and my journey, a discovery of more of the Lord of all spirits and His great creation. Yeah, there's I don't know. I guess this is my big shout out to. Oh, I just now forgot. What's their name? Their name. I'll go here and we'll go back. Corky Maples. She wanted, or they wanted to know. See, they wanted to know. Me to film I guess my research area, right, where I see these spirit. And as I've told you, I'll tell you again that I I really don't go out in the field anymore. I realize you don't need to. So, uh, where I film these images, take these images, these pictures, is from my front porch, my kitchen window, and um, my back door, right out my back door. So, and I think it's important to say that because I think, at least from my experiences, is because I discovered a couple things. One thing is taking stills. Filming with the video camera seems to get in the way of things. And here's another thing. And there's a good point. The original, when they made these cameras, we made cameras. It was not to make for you to take family portraits, but was for those who were involved 150 years ago in spiritualism and capturing these spirits that they've been interacting with for thousands of years. So, and the other thing too is it's in the canopies that you're going to find the entities. Times they do. Apparently, I know for a fact they've come down or come out of the ground or come out of the trees because I've experienced it. Um, and a lot of people think it's a joke, and I understand if you think it's a joke. And quite frankly, it's quite reasonable for you to think it's a joke if you don't bother to find out for yourself. So, and I will strongly recommend that it is at the edge of the forest. And also look for mature trees that are 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years old. You know what I mean? Because it seems like the older and the bigger the trees are, the more spirits you could find. I believe there's a reason why they call these things tree apes or tree monkeys. And we're going to see a few of these things. And then, of course, there's all a bunch of other entities and spirits. And if people think the spirit realm is a joke, I did most of my life until I bothered to start filming and I discovered that taking stills is a better way of actually finding them than but people do. I mean, people are going to do what they do, and it's entertaining, and but honestly, I think it's at the edge of the forest is where you're going to have better luck at filming the spirit realm. Some people say they're the guardians of the forest and the trees. Maybe they're the guardians for the spirit realm that is part of the totality of God's creation. I mean, after all, He's the Lord of all spirits, and you're a spirit. You're not just a meat suit walking around, although you might behave like one right now, or you might believe that. At some point in your life, you will come to terms with it, and hopefully in this life, and not in the next. But it's just one of this tree that always, we're in my front porch, I'll always see it, or if I go out and my back towards getting to my car, the walkway there is about 20, 30, 20 feet away from my car. I always see this tree, and this tree freaks me out. First of all, this is the eye of Sauron, as I've been calling it of late. And then there's this dude who's got the crazy, ooh, look about him, and he's got the two eyes. And he's always there, and his eyes change throughout the day. And not much you can do about it, except that's what it looks like, and that's what it is. And a lot of things come out of these things. Maybe some portal. I don't know how much that is true or not. It could be just because there's black that you able to see the things. But in this picture, at first glance, there's like nothing here. And this is my neighbor's yard. This is his tree in his front yard. And then the next house over. And then there's trees, you can see. Where I live is called Sylvania. And then Sylvania means it's the tree city. That's what it's been known for. And you used to have a lot more wonderful trees until they geoengineered the hell out of this place. Started causing all this decay and stress on the trees. Also, this is an older community, so people don't have irrigation. They put a lot of stress on trees to cause them to die, so they're still around. And most people don't bother because their lots are relatively small, and because of the shade, partial shade, they don't fertilize and waste their money on herbicides and pesticides, which is nice. I mean, I like since the lady next door, the lady, both on both sides have died since this has happened, and tons of trees have died as well. But since the one lady died on the west side of me, they stopped wasting their money on the house as far as herbicides and pesticides and all that kind of stuff. So animals and everything's starting to come back a little more. Maybe we'll start seeing worms again. That would be an amazing thing. I remember as a child, the earthworms were, after a rain, the red worms and earthworms were just everywhere. Now you can barely even ever see a worm. I can't remember the last time I actually did see a worm. And so, anyways, as far as God's creation is greater than people wanted to accept, and it will take time. I think it's because I'm in my latter stages. Really, I mean, I don't. As far as my life goes, here on this plane of existence, I mean, when you can't barely, walk from 15 feet from the couch to the bathroom or to the car, you know what I mean? I mean, because of my multiple sclerosis, damage from alleged bug, in which they injected me with some poison, playing the Russian roulette with us from the eugenics program back in 2009. I'm in my latter stages of relapsing, remitting multiple sclerosis. So I know I'm thinking about maybe going out, but if I go out like in the woods, I need to have the paved trails, and have to use my wheelchair. So I don't. So far I'm still able to walk around my place, but as far as really, I mean, I fell again yesterday, just doing a little bit, putting water in the bird feeder in my front, which is only 15 feet away and all that. So my territory is my spot in this realm. So I don't know how, I pray to the Lord of all spirits, and I ask him, I praise him, and I ask him to reveal things. So he reveals things to me, and through the mercy and grace of him, I've been able to take a few images with a camera that's halfway decent. But in this picture, there's some amazing entities and spirits. Actually, there's some right here about what, I guess we'll just go to the punchline or the chase. Can you see where Mr. Waldo is? It's cool right here in the porthole, ISR, and there's this one thing manifesting. Oh, the time of day, this is like morning time, maybe 10 o'clock. Overcast, humid. But in this whole section right here, on the other side of my neighbor's property, oh, how far would that actually be? Maybe 50 yards to 70 yards. And up in the trees, you'll find these things, and they call them tree apes for a reason, folks. And you hear a lot of times people reporting seeing these things around wooded areas, or even hear people sometimes saying they actually see them in the trees, and rightfully so. And because they're spirit, a little translucent and all that. But actually, there's a whole bunch of spirits, but there's one that really sticks out in particular. Is this guy right here. You see his dark eyes and his nose. You see the hairline there. You see the face, cone shape. I suppose I guess that'd be the ear or something. Maybe we go put so it's not so distorted. There he is. Now, if he's actually standing on the ground, which I don't believe he is, he's 12 feet, 10 feet in the air. 10 to 12 feet in the air. These heads pop out of the trees, and I think they somehow use. Here's another one right there. If you can see him, you see the dark head, see his dark eyes and the nose, and see how it just kind of blends in with the leaves. Well, that is an entity, 100%. But the one that's easiest to see is this guy right here. Once you see him, there's his head, his two dark eyes, dark reset eyes, his nose, his beard, like the people talk about. He's just sticking out. And if you pay attention closely in this image, you'll see that there's just these things kind of fading in and out, popping in and out, and it's some people call a clan. But I don't know if it's really the right term or not. I think there's just they are part of the forest. They've always been part of the forest, and the Native Americans have been telling us this for years. And well, of course, the Roman Catholicism and the state religion of the Roman Empire didn't want anybody to know about this stuff or focus on this stuff. They wanted us to focus on anything else. They wanted us to use us as, you can see there's one popping out of this, the Iosaurus. You see the two eyes. There's his head. It's blurry because they're spirits. And you're not going to, that's just the way it is, you know. Either you embrace the totality of God's creation or you don't. And for many of us, and for me at the beginning too, I was like convinced they're all evil spirit, demonic, unclean spirits. I think you can certainly attract unclean, demonic spirits, and even maybe the spirits of the Nephilim. But I've been praying for God to reveal to me His good spirits. So maybe some of these spirits really are. When people talk about some of these quote-unquote Bigfoot spirits, there's good guys, there's bad guys, and everything in between. So, and here's another thing too. When it comes to the angelic realm, most people think that it looked like something from the 60s chapel ceiling or walls of angels and naked men, naked boys, and I hate to say that, but that's such a perverse distortion of the spiritual realm and what angels look like. Angels, remember, you're the one creating God's image. Angels, He didn't say angels were. So, but that's one. I mean, it's indisputable that that's a head. I mean, Might not be the head you want, and the entity you want. And I notice a lot of these things because of they kind of, people say it's cloaking, but they're spirits, and so they're translucent to begin with, and they absorb the light and the coloration and the color spectrum around them. So it's just natural that it's going to happen. It's not. To me, I just think it's something what is, and will always be. But this tree just freaks me out, man. These two, see that eye there and that eye there, and these eyes get dark at times, man. At times that thing looks super angry, especially in the winter and the fall and that. It's amazing too when you really pay attention to a lot of things. Things people claim to be pareidolia, you'll be able to see the spirits actually distorting the bark itself and creating faces. You don't need some clown or some really artistic dude to do it. The spirit realm's doing it already, and people have always said, that the man of the forest, the man of the trees. And by the way, I'm going to show you one that I filmed on the other side, my neighbors across the street. In the back of his house, there's a big old tree, towers over his house. And in that tree, there are all sorts of spirits. So anyways, but you can look into this and you can just see, and if you just little eyes, you'll start to see that what are the spirits and what could possibly would be pareidolia, the leaves, But people don't want to believe it, and I understand if you don't want to believe it. And if I think the only way to really come to terms with this stuff is to experience it, or find out the truth for yourself. But if you're counting on somebody else to do the work for you, then you're always going to be subject to somebody else's opinion instead of going out for yourself and find out. Now this next one I filmed this guy yesterday in my back, or guys. But if you look real closely, there's an eye, there's eyebrow, there's the hairline. You can go down, there's the chin, there's the mouth. He seems to have a buddy, maybe attached to his head, or maybe this ear. I don't know. They always got something attached to him. What's weird about this head is that it's actually popping out of the tree as usual. And it's not normally there, and I'll show you what's normally there. Let's see, why did I copy that? Oh, because somebody was saying something stupid. So that's another. Of course, the leaf is hiding half the face as conveniently as it always is. Not always, but a lot of times. But this is the original photo, and you can see it's in the morning. It's overcast, facing the west, and so it's very shady there. Oh, slim shady. And but when you take it in and use a little, it's like paint.net or just paint. Paint.net's the best one. It's free. You can just get it. You have to kind of search for it because it's not easy to find these days. But paint.net, you put the picture in there and adjust the contrast and brightness and a little bit of coloration or whatever, curvature of the light, and you really can bring out the stuff. And you can see he really does. If you really look closely, there's an eye, the iris, the white of the eye, the eyelid, the eyebrow, the head. There's the mouth, and he's just popping out of the tree. Where do I go with this? Oh, I guess maybe I have to go over here. You say, we work this stuff out. Man, we don't got all the time, all day. This is what it originally looks like, right where I filmed it. Man, it was fascinating, this tree. And this tree, I've actually had a Bigfoot pop. What I filmed that head came right out. And you can look it on my YouTube channel cover page. It's the one in the very left of the dark head. It's a smiling, grinning face. But this is what this looks normally here. It's fascinating if you really pay attention to the bark and what's going on at certain times of the day. And this looks almost like a Bigfoot, almost being crucified or anything. His arm going up here and arm going up here. And somehow, some way, they use the energy, the force, whatever it is of these trees. And there are times when the conditions are right, which I think part of it is focusing on these things. And inwardly, and I would not be surprised in the next couple of weeks. Although if it didn't happen, it wouldn't bother me. But if I would not be surprised that I have another visually encounter. Anyways, it's my neighbor's yard, and this was about 30, at max 30 yards away from my car. Probably less than that, but this is where it was filmed, and in the sunlight and all that. And this is the weirdest thing, right? This right here, and it's got like somebody like bandaged his eyes. And it's weird. There's like the branches, these like dead branches somehow got pierced through the side of this thing. And if you pay real attention to this stuff, and if there's times I can really bring out the eyes, they're like eyes pop out of this thing, and this mouth, and it almost looks like it got a beard and all that, and these faces pop out of it. They literally do. And it happens to a lot of people, but most people don't talk about it, or most people don't focus it. We don't spend a lot of time looking up in the trees, do we? Honestly, we might look up at a glance, but we're too busy looking down on the ground, looking for that kind of. But anybody that's ever filmed any of these entities, and consistently has come to the realization that you have to look up into the trees. And here's another thing too. It seems to me, although there are certain woods and forests that are great as far as tree structures, and you'll experience things, it seems to me that you'll get more images of these entities once again on the edge of the forest, or in a wooded area with mature trees where there's partial light, and when the trees are allowed to grow to their majestic stature. It's just a maple tree. But this thing, for some reason, it's like right here, like it patched its eyes, or something covers his eyes. Like this, it doesn't even belong with this. And of course, if you look at this, is where there was a branch and it's cut off, and it's weirdly enough, if you look, kind of almost has a face. But here's the thing: the head of the ape fish thing, or tree ape that I filmed, where did he go? I'll go this way. It was right on top of here, popping up, manifesting that way, extending from the tree itself. There was a bit of a separation. I keep them separated. So this is where I filmed it. Above that, where that, and there's. So this is where you would say where that if I got my bearings right, that's the same place. Literally the same place, except this time is the head's popping out and making, which is a kind of monkeyish, apish, Bigfootish face. What can you do about it? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I can lie about it. I'm getting nothing out of this except a few new. Well, I'm getting a few new friends. Getting closer. I'm definitely getting closer to my Creator, my Lord, my Savior, and coming to terms with the magnitude of some more of the magnitude of His creation. But as far as convincing the world that I'm right, the Maquis, there's always going to be the paid shills and trolls that are part of the government. I do believe that they twisted the narrative in the past 55 years with the Patterson film and all that, deliberately to confuse the masses, confuse us, divide us, convince us that it's a joke or a guy, and all this kind of stupid stuff. Where the thing is, before, just a couple of generations from now, where we are in 2022, the vast majority of people worldwide understood this was going on, because they were much more connected with God and God's creation. Now we're so disconnected, it's ridiculous. And we think we're smarter for it, and clearly we're not. And just look at the human behavior today of what's going on. I mean, the genocide, mass murder, all the insane stuff. And by the way, human sacrifice is still going on. They call it war and all this other jazz. I could talk in forever in a day, but no one's listening to even to this. I figured I'm just going to share my personal journey, and maybe somebody will listen. And if you don't listen, then I can't do anything about it. Maybe you'll listen to somebody else. So anyways, so the spirit, he's popping out of that tree. And what's weird about that tree, like I said, it's there's nothing about this tree. Look at that. There's like, you can start seeing when the spirits and everything start manifesting, popping out. When it starts getting fuzzy or hazy around it, that kind of thing, it's spirits. So that's the same spirit and the image that I've shared you a lot of, like here's once again the reminder of the tree apes and the monkeys. So there's the head popping out right there. You can laugh if you want, I don't care. You don't believe, don't believe. There's where that monkey head popped out of here. You can see here that it's getting fuzzy here. You can almost see the eyes starting to pop out again of this head, right there, the nose and all that. That's what they do, man. I ladies and gentlemen, I can't help it. And I figure, I might as well be the one to share the truth, because I'm never going to be Mr. Big Shot in the Bigfoot world. I'm never going to be destined to be listened to. I mean, no one's going to who's going to take me seriously about all the things that I've gone through? Only people who've gone through what I've gone through. The rest are just going to think it's just a big joke. So there's nothing, what do I do? Do I hide it? The people that are making fun of me aren't my friends anyways. They're not my acquaintances. They're not people I'm going to deal with. So anyways, that's the way it is. So this is what I filmed in the past couple days, but I want to show this guy. So these dude and this one ogre with the nose, almost like the Jewish nose and the beady eye and all that kind of stuff. Also show you of these tree monkeys. So we saw the one thing that kind of looked like Bigfoot. Another one that kind of people call it Bigfoot. He has popping out of the trees. I'm totally convinced something's going to happen to me. And I'm not prepared for it, Lord Jesus, so please protect me with your Holy Spirit. And what I mean by I'm not prepared for it, I'm not healthy enough to do it physically. I don't want to have some battle royale with the spirit realm. So anyways, let's get to this. I'm going to talk about this guy last. He's fascinating. Well, I'm going to talk about this because next one of these are the tree monkeys. And they're about 60, 70 feet up in the air, in the trees, above somebody's house. I believe you could film these anywhere. You just got to start looking in the right places. They've been here all along. They're everywhere. And they should draw you closer, I think, if you're a sane enough and individual human being, closer to the Creator himself. Really. And if it doesn't, then there's something seriously wrong with you, in my book. So we'll start here. So this is what these are, these tree monkeys, spirits that I filmed. Notice the eyes, the whitish gray face. Notice these ones have, and these are like that one that I showed to you, the one that charged that person's car. And he had long, like the beards, the sides, like a long mustache and beards that went down, right? And these got the same things. You see that one? Right down here, right down here, right down here, right down here. And are they baby ones? or it's only in certain times when the conditions are right that they manifest to get bigger on the ground and are able to be on the ground and materialize to a point where maybe someone could actually put a bullet in them, kill them. These are all possibilities. The world's much more amazing than we give it credit. But this is like 60, 70 feet up in the air in a tree. And as you can see, and they're clear. They got the eyes. You pay real attention, and they look the same. They got the red around them, the reddish hair. I mean, it's right there. I mean, you whatever you want to think, it's just there. I mean, I think it's awesome myself. And this is kind of an example how they mix in within the trees, and they're actually in different types of heads. You can see there's a face right there, but you have to magnify into it. There's another one right there. And there's things that you don't see normally, and they'll try to tell you it's pareidolia, but you have to study pareidolia, and then you realize they're bullshitting you. Another thing is within this picture too, which I find fascinating, and I need to bring this one out, but there's another one of these. We call it Bigfoot or a tree booger. And you go, what's so special about Mike's place? There's trees. There's water. There's humidity right now. There's people. I don't think they're all that interested in a lot of other things. I think that there are times, I imagine people say that they kill and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But, and I could draw, as practice, I draw this one out because I forgot how awesome this. Now, either this is his arm going up, grabbing up, or it's another entity. I'll let you decide that one, but we can go like here. How do you go about this? So you take the picture, you take the still, you look for the anomalies. You see, that might be a person or a thing or an entity. Then you snip a piece of it. And it's easier to get a better quality picture with a better camera, like a P900, that's designed to be able to take long distance imagery with detail. Then you save it. I'm telling you, anybody can do this. There's nothing special about Mike Adams. The biggest thing is you get to just be willing to see it and then come to terms with what you're seeing. But there is two eyes, there's a nose, there's a mouth, and it's almost, he's got a reddish beard or something. Looks like somebody call it a tree monkey or a Bigfoot. Can't do nothing about it, except that that's what's going on, man. And they're there, and there's like, it's not geographically, all that. I hear all these stuff, that everyone's trying to rationalize it with materialistic science instead of getting back to the basics, where every culture and everyone is known for thousands of years that they've been here, except for us. Our memory's been erased deliberately, of course. So then the thing is, how do we bring this dude out? And remember, we're talking that 60, 70 feet away, up in the sky. It's actually 60, 70 yards away, and then 60, 70 feet up in the tree. Right, so it's never going to be perfect. So what do? We just try to bring out as much detail. Right now we're working on brightness and contrast. If you have a really good piece of software, you could really bring this thing out. Once again, I think could it be a mommy or a daddy, a bigger one of those little guys that I showed you earlier? How do I get them out? That's the trick. How do I pop him out? That contrast is a big deal. remember, but you can see the faint contours of the entity. Am I wasting my time like that? We'll see. We'll save that and we'll try something else here with curvature. Can I get you out a little more? Might be failing big time here. I hope you can see them. And it was reset. It made no difference. Reset. Probably be better off. We'll see the difference between the original. Okay. The original photo. I see slight teeth. I definitely see a nose. I definitely see eyes. I see eyebrows. I definitely see the hairline. I definitely see a beard. People talk about what's associated with quote unquote a Bigfoot. How do I get him out? How do I pop him out? Let's cancel that. Let's try that again. I don't know if I'll be able to get them out too well. One thing tells me that it's not as big as... let's cancel that. So it tells me this entity is not as big as one might assume it is. Because of the branches, the size of it. It is not that big. Maybe we're talking... Whereas the other guys were much smaller. The other spirits, ape spirits, as we call them for now, because we don't know what else to call them. Oh man, look at that one too. I forgot all about that. Look at that one and that eye. Oh, I know why that is. Okay, I know what I'm doing that for. So we have him. That's the spirit. Sorry, but just I'm sorry. Everyone wants to have this 15 minutes. Feed it to me now. Dopamine fix, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. So we're going to learn something together. We're not going to be entertained and entertain each other. Hopefully, we're going to learn together. And stop all this nonsense of this dopamine fixes and all that other crap, because they're screwing with our minds. So we have the little guys, and you can tell they're the little guys based on the leaves. Even that's like the helicopter seeds for the maple tree. Are these specifically associated with maple trees? Are they maple trees? Which would be really interesting if that was the case. Considering the person that asked me to go out in the field, and Maple is Maple's last name. Are these maple tree spirits? But we call buggers. We can't. This can't be all. This can't be right. It can't be. This has to be all Hollywood. This has to be all CGI, right? But it's not. Then you can do this. Or you have the little guys here once again. Little heads popping out. What are they? Do they have some association with the maple tree? Helicopter seeds. Maybe that's the only time they come out. Another example of them popping out. There's another blurrier one of them. Makes me once again think there's another one of them right here. You can see there's no doctoring of the image. But there's the eyebrow. There's the face. Just like I've shown people the image of the The head of this quote unquote Bigfoot popping out of the grass. And this could be more than the size of a silver dollar. But it was clear it had the eyebrows and the hairline ridge and the face and everything. And there's the eyes, the white pupil in it. And there's the eyebrow. There's red hair. There's the nose. There's the mouth. What is this right here? Is this what what people call gnomes? Oh, this is what people call little people? Well, there once again, there's Mr. Probably originally people would call it Bigfoot or Sasquatch. The receded eyes, dark, the hairline, the cone head, the gray face. No doctoring of the image. There it is again. There's that guy. Well, what happened to the one? Oh, I think that's the one I work on last. So, anyways, and then we got this guy. And he's filmed in the same tree with all those other little tree monkeys. It's in that maple tree across the street. And it's clear to me that there's something going on there. But it's not good enough for people. But you can see this original photo. You still see if you look closely, eyes, eyebrow, forehead, hairline, even the messy hair, the gray, the yellow or orange's beard. Wait a minute, and then I think that might be his arm, hand, actually up there on the. I can't help it. That's the way it is, man. I mean, I didn't ask. I asked to know God's creation. And in the process of learning, in the process of elimination, when it comes to Bigfoot research, you can only come to one conclusion: we're dealing with spirits. Or something in the spirit realm. And that's going to piss off a lot of people for no rational reason, except that maybe they're spiritually dead people. And therefore they can't handle the whole idea of the spirit realm. Which is a shame, and it really is. So the next one I want to work on is this one, and this image I find really fascinating because it's multiple entities in multiple different stages of transparency. We could start out with the fact that right here, this is the original photo. Once again, in the same tree with all those other red-headed monkey-looking things are, and there's a monkey head right there. But then there's another entity right here. There's two eyes, a gray face. There's one down here, and there's a big one, like the old man of the forest type of thing, with the big nose, human-like nose. And you're going to see it. He's got his eyes and his cone head type of thing. Filmed up in the tree, 60, 70 feet up in the tree. Not down on the ground. So now I changed a little bit of contrast, lighting, and color. You can start seeing things. There's the old man his nose starting to show up. His head. And his two beady eyes type of things. Maybe a beard. Although I do believe there's an entity or entities blocking his beard. You can see kindly if you really pay attention. And it's really difficult to see. There's actually a gray-faced entity staring right at you with a long face and nose. But then there's that one of those orange entities. You can see that it's the eyes, the eyebrows, the brow ridge, the hairline. There's the nose. There's once again the nose, and there's the frowny. It looks like it's a frowny mouth, or it's. It's hard to tell with these things the way they blend in again, but clearly there is an entity. If you look at this, there is an entity right here. You can see his neck, his chin, his gobbler neck type thing, going down here, and then here's the back of his neck, and going up, there's his head. It's hard to look at. It's hard to see because it's spirits. We can't do anything about it except come to terms with it. Behind it, there's the old man of the forest, I would call it. One of these old men in the forest. Some people call it Bigfoot. And people say Bigfoot come in different shapes, sizes, and I think it's stupid to keep going down that direction. There's some kind of really nefarious agenda to keep calling all these things Bigfoot. I'm calling it Bigfoot for now only because no one else was willing to talk about any of the other stuff that are out there. And if you do talk about it, then you're supposed to, you're a hippie, you're a witch, or you're a warlock. They've made you out to be although I'm a devout follower of Jesus Christ, 100% sold to Jesus. I'm a witch and a warlock. It's just like the Salem witch trials. Most people think that it was witches that were tried and hung. No, it was actually Christians who denied that they were witches that were tortured, tried, and hung, and had their property taken away from them. If you confess that you're a witch, they let you go. People don't put the pieces together. You see, they don't put the pieces together. We refuse to put the pieces together. And when we start putting the pieces together, there's always going to be people around there to destroy us. And I see the logic with God, what he uses now. A lot of us, he isolates us so we can start to have eyes to see, because if we stayed in the group, they would destroy us intellectually and spiritually and physically. And many times not even intentionally doing it. They think they're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Plus, and I could try to bring that out more. But remember, this is 70, 60 feet in the air in this tree. Old man in the forest type of look. It doesn't take very much imagination to see the beady eyes. Once again, if you notice the shape of the eyebrows and the resets, that if in the right light condition would look black. The nose, the Romanish Jewish nose or something like that. The Mediterranean nose, people might call it. How much am I looking at here? There's actually the face, and then blocked by another face of another entity right here. The one entity, the confusing part I have here is this, and this is how, because they blend together in a big mass. I don't understand how it works. Kind of the creator. I do believe they influenced all of them, all the elements, just as the Bible says. The angels are in charge of the four corners of the earth, right? Type of thing. We've heard from numerous accounts in the past of different indigenous cultures who called upon these spirits for rain and etc., right? They have some kind of influence or part in the weather system, everything. And the spirit realm is a big part of it. Now, we're not allowed to talk about these things, but I guarantee you the people at the very top know all about that. That's why they're not allowed to talk about these things. Because they don't want you to find out how they actually get their power. They're perfectly happy of having people. It almost looks like he has a beard here, and that's his teeth, isn't it? And then there's an illusion going on here as far as the face and all that. Well, there clearly is an orange entity here in front of him, and that's his teeth. And he's like this old man. Hope he's not a pedophile and a pervert who want to have sex with these things, like all those crazy guys that have sex with goats. There's a lot of crazy people out there. A lot of crazy people. Once again, this is a very, of that example of that. It has to. It's hard to tell, but it's actually 12 feet tall. It's blending in with the hues, the green hues of the leaves, making its grays and its black more blend into it. But you can see the dark recessed eyes, the nose, the mouth, or the front, the lip. I don't know if that's his beard or what some people talk about a beard, but there's definitely a beard here, and there's the head. Doesn't take very much imagination to see these things. What it takes is some honest eyes. Erase the scales from your eyes. Stop being part of the club and following the group and start following God. He'll reveal you amazing things. Amazing things. And these things pop out of the freaking trees. They have something to do with the light. They have something to do with the trees. They have, a lot of people have been talking about this and said, hey, listen, but I don't want to have any like magical powers over anybody and control them and gain all this wealth and riches. The wealth and riches that I see, the wealth and riches that I see is God and His creation, how amazing He is. What I want is my God. I don't want anything. I don't want all the rest of the stuff. You guys can play in your sandbox and screw each other over. I don't want to be part of it. I never wanted to be part of it. And when I was a younger man, what's bizarre about this picture, if you really pay close to this, just so you had the guy with the forehead, the gray beard and all that, and the arm up there, but it's almost like there's another entity trying to manifest in front of it. Why do you have to take stills? These things move so fast, and with you doing motion picture, or if you're doing like videos, you have to screw so bad with the videos in order to try to, make it look like it's something that it is. Or you just have to discipline yourself. Discipline yourself. God, look at that one right there. Now it starts to pop out. I mean, it's when you start seeing, when you start really waking up for what's going on. Like in this image, I see at least 3 entities, maybe 4. There's one right here. There's his nostrils. There's his eyes, his ears, his chin. There's another one right here. The question then becomes, whose arm is that? And is it the big guys, or is it one of the other ones? Fascinating how they manifest. But the only way you're going to capture them is by taking stills in the right location, and don't go crazy about it. Enjoy God's creation. If you find images, you find them. If you don't, you don't. I mean, the number of images and the entities in this photo, if messed with, could be as much as a half a dozen. But the one that sticks out the most is the guy in the back. He's looking right at us. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you understand that what's going on with all this chasing after Bigfoot and finding Bigfoot and all the ego stroke and things. There's a lot of the guys at the top know exactly what's going on, and they're not going to tell you the truth because they want your money and your attention. I want your attention as well, but I want you to know the truth. Now everyone says that they want you to know the truth. But if there's 3 people, 4 people saying 3 different things when you want to know the truth, there only can be one truth. It's not your truth, my truth, and somebody else's. There's either the truth, and then everything else is speculation or lies, and we can cut through those speculating lies by simply a process of elimination. I swear to God, to think. I mean, do you see the eyes right here? The big nose and the grin? That's what that is. So there's a guy in front of him. There's something going on here. And then there's that dude right there. For sure. We know that there's 2 guys. 2 ape-like dudes, creatures, what people want to call Bigfoot. You can even see the eyebrows start poking out when you really pay attention to it. There's the eyes. Somehow these dark recesses, at certain lights and whatever, they turn black. This guy definitely has more of a man-like face, and too, huh? You see the nose? See the lips, the mouth, the big mouth? Very blurry, but really pay attention. I'll do my best. I'll try to put it at the highest magnification, which causes a problem because then I can't put on big shoot and all that kind of stuff. So anybody does see this on YouTube, you're one of the first people to see this stuff. And by the way, this is not original. This is not unique. This is not only you find in Michael Adams' neighborhood. You'll find this in any neighborhood. That there's life. But we have been so distracted and our lives are so busy, and we're going from point A to point B that we don't enjoy what's all around us. To stop back and appreciate what's really going on. And what's scary is also with the intents that they have. Well, there's going to be the real hardship is going to happen, and a lot of people are going to die and starve, and there's going to be great violence, and they want it to happen. And if we don't find some way to get ourselves reconnected with God and Source, this madness is going to carry on from generation to generation to generation. I'm not saying that there's not always going to be evil men. There's always going to be evil men and evil designs. But following God is the way to go, man. It's almost like there's just layer upon layer in this image of spirits. You could even probably bring out, the more I'm looking at it, they're actually the blue and white. That's an entity. When you start looking, there's two eyes. The nose, and could that possibly be the mouth? There's no power lines up there because it's too high. Is it a branch? I don't know. One thing I can tell you, what we're witnessing here is multiple entities, and is a gift from God. And I asked God, show me your faithful angels. And his faithful angels do have human aspects, but they don't look anything like what they've been trying to tell us. What would have happened if we all realized the truth about what God's angels really look like? What would have had to happen to the power and influence of the Roman Catholic Church and his daughter churches? Why is it they have to do such terrible things to our children and to traumatize us and brainwash us in order to hold on to us and captivate our spirits, our souls, and our minds? Why are these things evil, but the Christians aren't? Or are the other people that say they're not Christians? I tell you, as always happens, you have to demonize your potential enemies. Who are the enemies of the ruling elite? Those who come to the realization of how they have their power in the first place and do something about it. They challenge their position. I don't know if you realize how special and fortunate you are as an individual to see what I see. But if you are one of those people, my hat's off to you, and may God bless you a million times more than me. And if you haven't seen it yet, may God still bless you a million times more than me. Sincerely. And I mean that. I've learned all you people to have great lives. I think a lot of these things, if they're trees and everything, if when we're back in balance with God's creation, there'll probably be more positive interactions. I can be absolutely wrong, but then again, it could be absolutely right. There's something going on in this picture that's more special than people recognize, than meets the eyes. Truly more special than meets the eyes. See if I can get back to that picture or not. Oh, some orbs in my yard. I took a couple of pictures. Like, oh, there's the orbs. Are still there. They're always going to be there. Hey, I'm so special. I took a picture of orbs. I'm not special. No one's special. Just simply because you take a picture of orbs. They've always been there. So what would happen if I go with a different magnification? You can see just by bringing it out just a little bit, I'm not talking out of my butt about it. there really is another entity. There's this ape dude. Maybe that's his arm, hand. And there's another ape dude right here. There's something in front of him. It's amazing, this picture. It's such a special blessing. The special blessing is to realize that these things are in our trees. And as the Native Americans and all other cultures were telling us, they're in the trees. But we're like, oh no, they're stupid. Get them in the Roman Catholic Church and get them all indoctrinated into their devil-worshipping bullshit. Well, we got to make everyone part of the synagogue of Satan. We can't let people know the truth of what's going on. If the people hadn't having some kind of independence, or that guy actually has a red beard there instead. If people really knew what was going on, what would we do? We wouldn't have their money in our Roman Empire. We have intents. Our intentions is to create a global, worldwide Roman Empire where we pretend to worship Jesus when really we're hiding the truth of him in plain sight. You tell the truth to the people about that, and they'll kill you for it. Literally. The spirit of religion is them so bad, they'll kill you. They'll want to just murder you for telling the truth. And they'll do everything in their power to shut you down. It's not just politics. It's not just religion. It's all the aspects of the Roman Empire. You must understand that. What we are dealing with here, we need supernatural intervention that it can only happen through the Creator, the Lord of all spirits, Jehovah, Jesus Christ. Check that out. If anybody else had a better software package, you probably keep bringing this stuff out even better. So I've shown you multiple entities that I took very little time filming. I believe you can do this. You want to know what the real secret is of having these things come out? Ask God. Communicate to God. Praise God. Talk about God in front of them. They become very interested. When you start talking about the Lord of all spirits being spirits, they become very interested. That's the secret of bringing them out. Talk about the Lord of all spirits. Talk about Jesus. And work it out in your own soul why it pains you to talk about it. There's a good chance you're poisoned by religion. The funny thing, if you actually read the Bible, it's all about breaking away from religion and not to being part of a religion. But we just go and run back in it because we don't know what else to do. We don't even know how to read the Bible. We abandon our own ability to critically think. Please, pastor, please, priest, please, pope, think for me. Instead of letting God to guide you. Well, but. I know there's a lot of yeah, buts. And it's a painful process, and it really is. Either you will love this world or you love God. There is no middle ground. None. And God made it very clear. Either you will love the Lord of all spirits, His creation, and who He is, or you will love the world, which is man-made constructs and lies and deceptions, and enslavement, cruelty. You'll get your little trinkets, your little breadcrumbs for your plate to make you feel like you're something special from the world. Or if you follow God, eternal life, and all the things that come along with it. Can you imagine what's going to be like in the next realm, in the spiritual realm, being along in the straight path that God chose for us and having interaction with all these different spirits? Do you imagine can you imagine what that's going to be like? It's getting this place is just imagined to be an infinite number of times more magnificent than it is here. When people talk about it, I'm sharing you a little glimpse of the fact that it literally will be. Because people, we live in a cruel world with cruel people running the show, and we think that everything has to be cruel and evil and violent. I wonder what it must have been like really when Adam, before the fall. Was he seeing these things? Was he the one that was naming names for these things? It's something to think about. I gotta tell you one thing though. It is evidently clear for me that we've been blatantly deceive and lie to you just about every damn thing there is.